Well, for those that are new to the channel, my name is Jonah Clement, and I really just wanted to dive in today and discuss the concept and my take on God and divinity. So to start, you might have hopped on this video because of the title, and I truly do believe that we are all God, or at least a part of God, and everything that you see, everything that's unseen, is in essence God. So what do I mean by that? Well, some of us have heard of like the Holy Spirit. I actually like to refer to it as the divine spark. I think that sounds cooler personally, but it's also, it's one of the same thing. Or higher self with a capital S instead of a lowercase s. But the idea is that within us, and you can't physically see it, it's untangible to the eyes, to our senses. It's in essence this almost sixth sense. And what it is it's the direct connection, the direct line to source. And it's within everything. It's within all of us. It's within the air we breathe. It's within our cells. It is our cells. It's literally what we are. It's the seen, it's the unseen, it's the everything, it's the nothing. It's in essence a contradiction, because everything from this notebook to my phone, to my hand, to my watch, to this pen, to this piece of paper, all of it, God resides within it. So in essence, it is God. We are, you might have heard this, not necessarily humans. We're spiritual beings enjoying a human experience. And this human experience is having this body and experiencing aspects of, in essence, ourselves. And other people around us have that divine spark or Holy Spirit or God or super consciousness or whatever you want to call it. There's many different words for it. It's all the same thing. Most of you, if you're Christian or believe in kind of what are referred to as the one of the bigger religions, Islam, things like that, the Holy Spirit is typically how a lot of people refer to it. I know that doesn't cater to everyone, so I like to refer to it as the divine spark. But this resides and inhabits within everybody. It's not something you can see. It is something you can feel. It's something that once you strengthen your connection in it, and that's in essence you're strengthening connection within yourself, because you are God and God is you. And there's not really a separation. And I'm going to dive into what that really means, because many of us are like, are going to say, how am I God? Like that doesn't make any sense. Well, we are in essence little slivers, or the soul that we have are little slivers of the source. And we inhabit this body to learn lessons and enjoy this experience of being on this earth and trying to bring change to it in a more light-minded manner to elevate the entire human consciousness to the next level, or to fulfill our purpose within that divine spark. So with that, I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit more about what I mean by we're all God. So I have a divine spark in me, and so do my neighbors and the people in my community. Everybody in the world has this, and we are in essence experiencing ourselves, and God is experiencing Himself through other people. And when we interact with somebody, it's like kind of interesting how sometimes it's like you feel like you know somebody before you even met them. You might have, maybe not in this lifetime, maybe in a past life, maybe in another realm, maybe in another world. It doesn't matter. That's a connection that is untangible. It's something that's unseen, but it's there. It's energies interacting with each other at this level that we physically cannot comprehend at this time, because we're not at that level of consciousness. We have no tools to measure this in essence. But because we all have this God force within us, that's how come you can see aspects of yourself and other people. And it becomes really interesting because you usually interact with people that have, similar traits to you. And I don't mean physical traits. I mean like emotional, spiritual thoughts, things like that. But it's interesting because sometimes you interact with people that are completely different than you, but it's almost like a shadow aspect of a side of you that maybe you're denying or, don't really want to address. Now, the beauty in this is that everything in this essence, God is in everything and He's in nothing. He's in the seen and unseen. He's in the tangible and intangible. He's in space and He's in the space between space. So the cool part about that is literally everything around us is God. I'm God. You're God. Like I said, it's Cup's God. And it's kind of funny because it starts to bring into the question of duality versus non-duality. So when we think of God, a lot of us think of him as separate from ourselves. That's kind of how a lot of ideologies and doctrines preach. Not all the time, but a lot of them do. I think a lot of them are starting to transition more towards the God is the inward spirit within us, and thus he is us, or we're a part of him, is another way to phrase it. But the interesting part is that in essence creates a duality. In reality, God is not separate from anything. So there should not be a duality of us and him. It's we. We are one, or the I and am. It's just I am. So the interesting part about this is moving away from duality to non-duality and understanding that we are all on this planet one being. We are all one conscious thought. We are all one consciousness. We are one mind. We are all together. And we are just experiencing ourselves from different aspects, from different experiences and whatnot. And that's the beauty of it. Because in essence, because you are experiencing, when you're talking with a new person, you're experiencing yourself again almost for the first time. But the funny part is we only can view it from our personal point of view within this body or this avatar that we inhabit. Because this avatar, in essence, the sliver of our soul that inhabits this, which we have many slivers, we in honesty inhabit many bodies at the same time. It's just we can only be conscious and aware of one at a time. Because if we were aware of every single body that we were a part of, we would not be able to handle it. It'd be, in essence, too much information, too much stimulus all at one time. Our vessel can only handle so much at this point. And that's because this vessel, this body, is limited in some degree to the amount of spirit and the amount of consciousness which can be held within it. Now, the cool part about that is in essence, we never really die. We just transition to a new form. Just how energy can neither be created nor destroyed. In essence, this divine spark, this divine spirit, this Holy Spirit, this part, this high self, whatever you want to call it, it's a form of energy. So, in essence, that is our true nature. We are not the body. We are not our situation. This is all just an illusion. It's an external projection of our internal state. So it doesn't mean that it is us. We are something beyond that. We are the awareness of that internal state. We are the awareness of the things around us, of our choices, of our actions, of our free will, of our emotions. And with that, we are able to understand that we are infinite eternal beings with unimaginable amounts of power. I mean, we transcend time, we transcend space, we transcend different universes and realities because there's infinite versions of us across infinite timelines, and yet we experience them all at the exact same moment. Yet we're not aware of this, but we do experience them and inhabit them at the exact same moment, and not just in this physical form, not the form Jonah. Beyond that, other forms, other people, other not, I'm not talking races as in like physical people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Chinese, whatever. I'm talking about other races and other species of beings, other sentient forms of life. We experience that. We can also, not just that, the trees, the rocks, everything has this within them. I mean, it's funny to think that you can actually choose and decide to experience a life as a rock or a tree because that's what you want to be. And that might sound a little bit out there and far-fetched, but if God's in everything, that is us as well. And that's the beauty of it, that we are, in essence, not separate. We're all one living, breathing, heart-beating thing. The planet is alive, and it really is just one being. And it's in essence, a part of God as well, thus making it God, because God and us are not separate. We choose to be separate from God, and we really shouldn't be. And we should never choose to be separate from God. We are one with Him, and He is one with us. And that's kind of the interesting part about, I'm going to dive into a little bit of the concept of light and dark, and how light and dark really can't exist without one another. Light defines darkness, and darkness is defined by light. And with that, people a lot of people were taught as children to be afraid of the dark. And darkness really, all that really represents is just the unknown. That's really all that darkness represents. Light, in essence, is like order, peace, serenity, love. Darkness is just unknown, unordered chaos. But in the fact that there is chaos, it's beautiful, and that light can be brought to the darkness and vice versa. And thus it creates this cycle, just like in the Tao, where you see the dark and the light intertwine, and they're rotating infinitely and at a faster rate. They're one. It's the concept that they're just opposite sides of the same coin. And that's the thing. It's like God and then the shadow of God. They're the same being. It's just one is light, one is dark. And they're not separate. That's kind of the beauty of it. So it's like, it's interesting how in the Christian religion, and I don't really adhere to any specific doctrine. For those of you that have not seen my previous content or seen any of my other content, I did grow up in a pretty Christian household, specifically non-denominational Christian. My father was just non-denominational. My mother was actually Lutheran. We went to a church literally every Sunday, and I remember learning about the concept of Satan and Lucifer and all of that, and the fall from grace, and just all of that. And it's really interesting how I kind of take it from a different perspective now, kind of looking back on it, and that it's basically just the separation, because in essence, Lucifer could not accept his place within the kingdom and just accept that being a part of God is in essence like the greatest gift that you could ever have, because it's a state of internal loving and knowing. And it's a state of just complete oneness. I don't want to say perfectness, because I don't necessarily believe in the concept of perfection in the traditional sense of perfection, but it's complete oneness with an entity like that transcends everything, and thus that lives within us. That is the center of us. That is our essence. That divine spark lives in us, and we transcend reality with Him, and time and space and all of that. And the cool part about that is that the fact that we as humans live here, in essence, we chose to be separate from God. And we did that for very specific reasons. We're trying to grow and help other people on this realm grow and succeed in life. But it's really to learn lessons and to escape this constant cycle of samsara, or basically karma, to where you consistently reincarnate over and over and over again, learning lessons. And in some cases, a lot of people get stuck on this cycle, and I actually kind of like to refer to getting stuck on that cycle as hell. And the main reason is because you're coming back here. If you're learning the same lessons over and over again because you weren't able to learn it the first time, the second time, or third time, or however many times it takes you, some lessons, again, are harder than others. But sometimes we have to come back and learn these lessons over and over and over again, because we can't really evolve to the next state until we understand and learn from these lessons. And the sad part is you have some people and some aspects, and because we are them and they are us, we have aspects of ourselves that are stuck in this cycle and can't break free. Well, some of us, and I'm not like saying myself, I'm just pointing here because my heart, but the divine spark and whatnot, other people are able to actually break free from this cycle and enter basically the eternal moment, to where everything is one and they're completely aligned with God, and they're the spark within themselves. And the goal of people like that should really be to work and help people that are stuck on this constant cycle of birth and death and birth and death and birth and death, and just being stuck and learning these lessons over and over again. And that's really where as a species, as mankind or humankind or whatever you want to call it, needs to grow and help these people escape from this. So in closing, I really wanted to just say this is important, because once you understand that we are all really just one being experiencing one another just from different aspects of ourselves and just from different forms, you can start to kind of see, how you can treat others well. There's a reason why, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's a really important thing to remember. Love thy neighbor. Love your enemies. Pray for the people that prosecute your enemies. That's some of the tenets that Jesus preached. And there's a reason. And it's because when you ultimately, like, let's say you hurt somebody or you injure somebody, you're ultimately just hurting yourself. And it might not be apparent at first, but you are ultimately hurting yourself. And that's kind of the sad truth. And starting to understand that and know that, we as people, we as a group, we as a species that floating out here in space on this rock, on this living, breathing being that we call Earth, we can start to treat each other better, treat each other in a more light manner, not, try to necessarily put our own material gain before, maybe harming other people. And you can start viewing other people with, not humanity, I don't think that's the right word, divinity, because I think typically the human side is the side that sometimes gets dragged into this materialistic space to where it's this constant desire of wanting more, of, wanting to always be at the top of the ladder, when it's like everybody is in essence equal in the eyes of the Lord and the eyes of the universe. We're all equal, we're all loved the same. From literally the top, let's say the top gurus or whatever you want to call them, all the way down to people that, are just not doing well, or, not necessarily following the right path. And I don't believe there's in essence a right path. There's a path you choose. And that's why we have free will. You get to choose your path. So with that, I want you to go out there and try to, show love to your neighbors, show love to your friends, your family, show love to your strangers, show love to everybody. And sometimes it can be hard, but that's the challenge. It's just like stepping out of that situation, out of that feeling, and being aware that you have the opportunity and the choice on how you treat others and how you treat yourself. So again, my name is Jonah Clement. If you like the video, I would love it. Really appreciate you to hit that like button. It really does do a lot for the algorithm and help the channel grow. And I post content about 3 times a week. So if you're looking forward to resonate with any of this content, also love for you to hit that subscription button and subscribe to the channel. It again helps this channel grow. I'm really trying to get this message out to as many people as possible. I'm not doing it really for, personal gain or anything like that. I'm really just doing this because I enjoy talking about these subjects and topics and trying to bring a message of love, light, and really just personal responsibility, and, getting people to feel like they are empowered and loved and wanting to, make change in the world and actually help others heal and this place heal. So again, I post content about 3 times a week. So hit that notification bell if you want to be notified. Otherwise, thanks for hopping on and joining today's video. I absolutely love having these just kind of off the cuff talks, but I will see you when I see you.